Welcome to English Sucker. Today in this video, let's look at the line-by-line explanation of the fifth part of the chapter, The Enemy by Paul S. Buck. So let's get going. In the story, so far we have seen that Dr. Sadao Hoki starts operating the American prisoner of war. He had Hannah, his wife, at his side to assist him. It was a terrible experience for Hannah and she was uncomfortable. Sadao feels helpless and because of this he becomes irritable towards the patient who was an American, his nation's enemy. Now the story continues. This man, he thought, there is no reason under heaven why he should live. Means he wonders that why this man should survive. The nature tried to kill him. When he tried to escape, he was shot at his back, and now he was at the hands of his enemies. So unconsciously, this thought made him ruthless and he proceeded swiftly. Instead of having precise and delicate movements with the help of his surgeon's knife, unknowingly, with an impulse, with a strong feeling, he started moving his knife quite swiftly that hurt the white man. And in his dream, in his stupor, or in his unconsciousness, the man moaned or groaned with pain, but Sadao paid no heed, no attention to him, and instead he said, groan, he muttered, groan if you like. I am not doing this for my own pleasure. In fact, I do not know why I am doing it. So this sentence of Dr. Sadao brings out that what a kind of dilemmatic situation he was caught in and how helpless he was. The door opened, and at this moment the door opened and there was Hannah again. We should remember that Hannah was uncomfortable to see the procedure of operation, the blood sight and so on. So she felt vomiting and that hence she went out, and now she is back. And now how sincere she is towards her duties, especially how sincere a wife she is brought out here as she asked for the anesthetic. Where is the anesthetic? She asked in a clear voice. Sadao motioned, just signaled with the help of his chin without wasting time or without diverting his attention. It is as well that you came back. He appreciates her that she joined him back, he said, and this fellow is beginning to stir. It seems that he is coming to consciousness, and it is right now the time that he should be given the anesthetic. She had the little bottle of anesthetic and some cotton in her hand, but she didn't know how to give that anesthetic to the man. She was not familiar with the procedure. So here Sadao gives the necessary direction. He asks her to simply saturate the cotton or soak the cotton in the liquid of anesthetic and hold the cotton ball near the nostrils of the man. Sadao replied without delaying for one moment. The intricate, the fine detail of his work of surgery. So then further he gave instruction. Then when the man starts breathing badly, she should move away the cotton ball or the anesthetic. She crouched close to the sleeping face of the man, a young American man. It was a piteously and sadly pitiable thin face, she thought, and the lips were twisted. Maybe although the man was unconscious, but because the man was in pain, so his lips were twisted tightly folded inward. The man was suffering. She understood that the man was in great pain, whether he knew or not. So, while watching him, she wondered if the stories they heard sometimes of the sufferings of prisoners were true. And then she started thinking about all those stories about the prisoners and the way prisoners get tortured in their prison houses, in jails, and she just started wondering whether such stories are true, such stories that come like flickers of rumor are just like rumor rife, or stories without any base about their truth and just told by word of mouth, means heard and said by people, not written anywhere, and such stories are always contradicted or opposed to each other. One cannot rely upon such stories about the sufferings prisoners experience in jails and prison houses. So, moreover, she now thinks about that in the newspapers, the reports were always that. Then she thinks about the Japanese armies, that what kind of great achievements the Japanese armies had in the recent past. In the past, wherever the Japanese armies went, the people received them gladly with cries of joy, with cheers at their liberation, at their freedom. But on the other hand, she thinks about cruel men like General Takima, the old general, for whose care Sadao was not sent along with the troop. So she thinks now of General Takima, who at home even doesn't hesitate to beat his own wife cruelly, though no one mentioned it now that he had fought so victorious a battle in Manchuria. People forget about his achievements, but now people talk about his cruelty towards his wife. So, if a man like that could be so cruel to a woman in his power or his own wife, so how can one expect that this man will not be cruel with this American soldier or prisoner like this man? She wonders. She hoped anxiously that this man had not been tortured. She wishes that the man had not undergone such kind of tortures and sufferings. It was now, when she was just thinking about all these, it was at this moment that she observed something, some kind of deep red scars or mark of injury on his neck, just under the ear. And immediately she reacted to it. She said, "Those scars," she murmured, lifting her eyes towards Sadao. She wanted Sadao to tell her about those scars, but he was as totally engrossed in his work, the intricate work of operation surgery, but he did not answer. At this moment he felt, as he was at the crucial point of his procedure, at this moment he felt that the tip of his knife or the instrument just struck against something very hard, and that hard substance was dangerously near the kidney, and he was very sure that it was the bullet that was still inside his body. All thought left him as soon as he had this experience, or as soon as he was confirmed that the bullet, he found the bullet and it was near the kidney. He felt a kind of purest pleasure, a sense of satisfaction he experienced, because he found out the root cause of the problem. Then he began probing and searching with his fingers in a delicate manner, as he was familiar with every atom, every tiny part of this human body. And whenever Sadao attended his patients, he attended with great care and delicacy, as he always remembers his old American professor of anatomy, a science study of the internal organs of human body. So he always remembers what once and always his American professor of anatomy had seen to that knowledge, that everyone should know this fact, that ignorance of the human body is the surgeon's cardinal sin, main sin or main mistake. He always used to tell his interns that they should always have respect for each and every part of the body, and they should have knowledge about each and every part of human body, each and every organ of human body. And this professor had always shouted many a times at his classes year after year that they should have respect for human body and complete idea of each and every small to large organs. So further he would say to his students that to operate a person without complete knowledge of the body will be similar to murder, anything less than a murder. So, it is quite at the kidney, my friend Sadao murmured. As now Sadao was very happy and very contented as he found the root cause of the suffering of this man. So now he became a little relaxed and he just spoke the words like my friend. And at this point, the narrator tells us that it was his habit to murmur, to talk softly to the patient when he almost forgot himself, means lost completely in his work during an operation. My friend, he always called his patients, and so now he did, although this time the patient is an American prisoner of war, forgetting that this man was his enemy. Then quickly, with the cleanest and most precise, most accurate of incisions, means the cuts that are done to the body during operation, incisions. So he made very delicate cuts, and then by doing this he took the bullet out. And when it happened, when the bullet was out, the man quivered or shivered with utter pain, but he was still unconscious. However, when this happened, the bullet was taken out, he muttered a few English words, guts, he muttered, then choking, and then just becoming unconscious and having difficulty to breathe, he said, "They got my guts, they took out my strength, oh, they just killed me," he said with utter pain. And when Hannah heard for the first time the voice of the man, she just got a little terrified. Sadao, hush, Sadao just made her quiet. The man sank again into silence, again became unconscious, and so deep, so profound that Sadao took up his wrist to check, although he hated the touch of the American person. So, but still he took his wrist and he felt the pulse there, the heartbeat. Yes, there was still a pulse, but it was dull, faint, so feeble, so weak, but it was enough if he wanted the man to live, to give hope. But certainly I do not want this man to live, he thought. Why? Because this man was his nation's enemy. Then, although this thought came for a moment, and then at the other instance, he just gave another instruction to Hannah not to give any more anesthetic to him. Then he turned as swiftly as though he had never paused, and from his medicines he chose a small vial, a small bottle, an ampule filled with the medicine to be injected, and from it he filled a hypodermic, a syringe, an injection, and thrust it into the patient's left arm. He injected the patient or the American man with some medicine. Then, putting down the needle, he took the man's wrist again and felt the pulse again. The pulse under his fingers fluttered, just went up and down for a few moments, and once or twice, and then grew stronger. And then he was satisfied, and then he made a statement, "This man will live in spite of all." Means this man will live in spite of all odds, all negative circumstances, he said to Hannah, and took a deep sigh. So today we'll have the lesson up to here. Look at the words ruthless, moan, saturate, grouse, piteously, by word of mouth, anatomic, cardinal, precise, incisions, quivered, muttered. So with this we come to the end. Thank you so much for watching.